Every person born inside the silo grows up believing the same terrifying story. Beyond those massive steel doors lies a world so poisonous that stepping outside means certain death. Question that story, and you're labeled dangerous. Ask too many questions and you'll disappear into judicial. Say the words, "I want to go outside," and your fate is already decided. For generations, that fear has held together a civilization of 10,000 people spread across 144 underground floors. But after everything we've seen in Silo, there's a much more unsettling question hiding beneath the surface. What if the biggest lie was never about the outside world? What if every execution, every cleaning, every erased history book, every forbidden relic, and every brutal rule in the pact exists for one purpose? Not to imprison people, but to stop them from unknowingly triggering their own extinction. Because once you connect Juliette's discoveries, Bernard's impossible decisions, the mystery of the legacy, and the existence of the other silos, a horrifying truth begins to emerge. The people of Silo 18 aren't simply living inside a prison. They're living inside a carefully controlled survival system, and the lie they've hated for generations may be the only reason any of them are still alive. Before we unravel that mystery, let's quickly remember where the story stands. Juliette Nichols has done what nobody believed was possible. She survived her cleaning, crossed the poisoned landscape, discovered another silo, and returned carrying knowledge capable of destroying everything her people have ever believed. At the same time, Bernard Holland revealed that he knew far more than anyone imagined. Hidden beneath IT lies the legacy, a secret archive containing information passed from one generation of leaders to the next.
Beyond that, nothing about why it was built or why we are here.
Lucas Kyle entered that vault and discovered something so shocking that even Bernard's confidence began to collapse. Meanwhile, the people inside the silo continue living ordinary lives, completely unaware that their entire civilization is balanced on secrets they were never supposed to uncover. Every one of these storylines points toward the same question. If the truth is so dangerous, the generations of leaders have been willing to kill to protect it,
The silo was built 352 years ago.
then what exactly are they protecting? If you enjoy theories that dig beneath the surface, instead of simply explaining what happened on screen, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this video with another Silo fan. I spend hours connecting clues across episodes, studying visual details, comparing dialogue, and exploring the deeper lore behind these stories instead of repeating headlines. If that's the kind of content you enjoy, your support genuinely helps this channel grow. Now, fair warning, this video contains major spoilers for Silo through Season 3, along with carefully marked discussion of material from Hugh Howey's novels that may point toward where the television series is heading. If you're avoiding future story details, this is your chance to head back inside before the vault door closes. The first thing the series teaches us is that control begins with certainty. Nobody questions the outside because everyone has watched the same ritual since childhood. A person walks out wearing a protective suit, they clean the camera, they collapse within minutes. The entire silo watches it happen together. It feels like undeniable proof that the world beyond the airlock is uninhabitable. But here's the detail that quietly changes everything. The cleaning itself isn't necessary for survival. The lens could be cleaned by machines, the suits could be designed to keep people alive longer. Instead, the ritual is performed by human beings because the people watching need to believe they are witnessing the same outcome every single time. It's not just maintenance, it's theater. Every cleaning reinforces the same message. The outside kills, the silo saves, and curiosity has consequences. That pattern extends far beyond the airlock. Why are relics illegal? Why erase books? Why outlaw simple questions about history? Why does the pact control everything from relationships to technology?
If you speak to anyone about this conversation, or what you have seen down here, we will have no choice but to initiate the safeguard.
At first, these rules seem absurdly oppressive. The actions of paranoid leaders, desperate to protect their own power. But the deeper the series goes, the harder that explanation becomes to accept. Bernard doesn't behave like a king protecting a throne. He behaves like someone carrying an impossible responsibility. Time and time again, he chooses stability over compassion, not because he enjoys cruelty, but because he genuinely believes one mistake could destroy the entire silo. That doesn't excuse his actions, but it does suggest he's operating under knowledge no one else possesses. And then Juliette breaks the system, not by leading a rebellion, not by overthrowing Bernard. She breaks it by surviving long enough to prove the story isn't complete. When she walks beyond the hill and sees dozens of identical silos stretching across the horizon, the entire foundation of her world collapses in a single moment. If there are more silos, then humanity didn't end here. If humanity didn't end here, then why has everyone been told they're alone? And if leaders have lied about something this enormous, what else have they been hiding? Those questions are exactly what the system has spent centuries trying to prevent. Because once people begin asking why the lie exists, they stop asking whether the lie is true. And that is where the real mystery begins. Not outside the silo, but inside the minds of the people who built it. Once you accept that possibility, Bernard Holland becomes one of the most misunderstood characters in the entire series. For 2 seasons, he looks like the obvious villain, the man willing to imprison, manipulate, and even sacrifice innocent people to preserve his authority. But look closer at his decisions, and a different picture starts to emerge. Bernard rarely acts out of anger or personal ambition. He acts out of urgency. Every time someone uncovers a forbidden relic, starts asking questions about the past, or gets too close to the truth, Bernard responds as though he's trying to stop a chain reaction rather than silence a political enemy. That's an important distinction, because dictators usually protect themselves. Bernard constantly behaves as though he's protecting something much larger than himself. The question is, what could possibly justify that level of fear? The answer begins to reveal itself beneath IT inside the Legacy Vault. This isn't just a room full of historical records. It's a controlled archive, carefully passed from one head of IT to the next, containing information that almost no one in the silo is ever meant to see. When Lucas Kyle finally enters the vault, the series does something fascinating. It refuses to show us everything he learns. Instead, it focuses on his reaction. Then it focuses on Bernard's reaction after Lucas whispers something into his ear.
No time, okay? I need you to look like we are having a serious conversation.
That choice by the writers is incredibly deliberate. If the information itself were the most important part, they would have shown it to us. Instead, they want us to pay attention to what that knowledge does to the people who receive it. Lucas leaves the vault with a completely different understanding of the world. Bernard leaves it looking like a man who has just realized the future can no longer be controlled. Now think about the Pact. Throughout the series, the Pact is treated almost like a sacred document. It governs births, relationships, law enforcement, engineering, and even how information is shared. At first glance, many of its rules seem unnecessarily restrictive. Why outlaw relics that can't possibly hurt anyone? Why erase history instead of preserving it? Why punish curiosity so severely? But every one of those rules serves the same hidden purpose. They prevent people from connecting pieces of a much larger puzzle. A single relic is harmless. A forgotten history book is harmless. One question about the past is harmless. But when thousands of people begin connecting those pieces at the same time, certainty disappears. And once certainty disappears, panic quickly takes its place. That's exactly why Juliette becomes so dangerous. She doesn't simply discover one secret. She connects several of them at once. She learns that the display inside the cleaning helmet is false. She realizes the suits are deliberately designed to fail. She discovers another functioning silo beyond the horizon. Suddenly, decades of carefully controlled information begin collapsing into a single, terrifying conclusion. The official story has never been complete. But here's where things become interesting. Even after discovering those lies, Juliette still doesn't know why they exist. She's uncovered the deception, but not its purpose. And that missing piece may be the most important secret of all, because the deeper you look, the more the deception starts resembling a containment system instead of a prison. Every society depends on shared beliefs. In the silo, those beliefs are enforced with extraordinary precision because even a small crack can spread faster than anyone realizes. Imagine what would happen if word reached every floor that there were dozens of other silos just beyond the hills. Families would demand answers. Workers would abandon their posts. Entire departments would stop trusting one another. Some people would insist on opening the airlock. Others would try to seize control of IT. Within days, the social order that keeps food growing, water flowing, machinery running, and oxygen circulating could begin falling apart. The danger wouldn't simply be political chaos. It would be the collapse of the very systems keeping 10,000 people alive underground. That possibility completely changes how we should interpret the cleaning ritual. Most viewers see it as punishment, but it also functions as psychological reinforcement. Every public cleaning reminds the population that survival depends on staying inside. Whether the leaders genuinely believe they're protecting people or simply following instructions passed down for generations, the effect is the same. Fear becomes a form of infrastructure. Instead of steel beams holding up the silo, it's belief holding together the society inside it. Remove that belief overnight, and everything built upon it becomes unstable. This is why Bernard keeps making choices that seem impossible to defend. From Juliette's perspective, he's hiding the truth. From Bernard's perspective, he's holding back a flood. The writers quietly invite us to see both sides of that conflict without fully endorsing either one. Juliette is right to demand the truth. Bernard is right to fear what uncontrolled truth can do. The tragedy of Silo is that both of them are acting to save the same people, but they completely disagree about what those people need most. One believes freedom comes from knowledge. The other believes survival depends on restraint. And the closer the series gets to revealing what the founders actually built beneath the surface, the more those two philosophies begin racing toward an unavoidable collision. Everything we've talked about so far leads to one terrifying possibility. The founders of the silo didn't simply build an underground city. They built a system designed to survive human nature itself. Wars eventually end. Diseases can be cured. Even a poisoned world can recover over time. But fear, panic, greed, and the instinct to fight over limited resources never disappear. The people who designed the silo understood that the greatest threat to humanity might not come from the world outside. It might come from the people trapped inside once they stop trusting each other. That's why every layer of the silo is built around control. Information is controlled. History is controlled. Technology is controlled. Even hope is controlled. It's not because knowledge is dangerous on its own. It's because knowledge without context can destroy a civilization faster than any poison in the air ever could.